When looking at these objectives, you always want to pay attention to the percentages. And as I mentioned, I'm breaking up the first section, implement and monitor in Azure infrastructure, because it's 50 to 55% of the objectives for this total exam. That's a big piece of pie. Versus the last two are 10 to 15% for solutions for apps and managing data. Security, good chunk, a quarter. So we're going to start the first one and break it up into two sections. Let's start with implement and monitor in Azure infrastructure part 1. Azure Cost Management plus Billing is a suite of tools provided by Microsoft that help you analyze, manage, and optimize the cost of your workloads. Although related, billing differs from cost management. Billing is the process of invoicing customers for goods or services and managing the commercial relationship. Cost management shows organizational cost and usage patterns with advanced analytics. Reports in cost management show the usage-based costs consumed by Azure services and third-party marketplace offerings. Monitor Azure costs with budgets, alerts, and cost analysis. Cost alerts are automatically generated based when Azure resources are consumed. Alerts show all active cost management and billing alerts together in one place. When your consumption reaches a given threshold, alerts are generated by cost management. There are 3 types of cost alerts: budget alerts, credit alerts, and department spending quota alerts. Budget alerts notify you when spending based on usage or cost reaches or exceeds the amount defined in the alert condition of the budget. Cost management budgets are created using the Azure portal or the Azure Consumption API. Credit alerts notify you when your Azure credit monetary commitments are consumed. Monetary commitments are for organizations with enterprise agreements or EA agreements. Credit alerts are generated automatically at the 90% and 100% of your Azure credit balance. Whenever an alert is generated, it's reflected in cost alerts and in the email sent to the account owners. Department spending quota alerts notify you when department spending reaches a fixed threshold of the quota. Spending quotas are configured in the EA portal. Whenever a threshold is met, it generates an email to department owners and is shown in cost alerts. For example, 50% or 75% of the quota. Reports in cost management show the usage-based costs consumed by Azure services and third-party marketplace offerings, as we mentioned. Costs are based on negotiated prices and factor in reservation and Azure hybrid benefit discounts. Collectively, the reports show your internal and external costs for usage and Azure Marketplace charges. Other charges, such as reservation purchases, support, and taxes, aren't yet shown in reports. Support for alert types depend on the type of Azure account you have or Microsoft offer. The following table shows the alert features that are supported by various Microsoft offers. Azure Monitor for VMs collects its data from one or more log analytics workspaces in Azure Monitor. Prior to onboarding agents, you must create and configure a workspace. You can create a new log analytics workspace using any of the following methods, such as Azure Portal, CLI, PowerShell, or Azure Resource Manager. Role-based access control. To enable and access the feature in Azure Monitor for VMs, you must have the log analytics contributor role in the workspace. To view performance, health, and map data, you must have the monitoring reader role for the Azure VM. Before a log analytics workspace can be used with Azure Monitor for VMs, it must have the VM Insights solutions installed. There are 3 options for configuring an existing workspace from the Azure portal. To configure a single workspace, select the Other Onboarding options and then Configure a Workspace. Select a subscription and a workplace, and then click Configure. Make sure that you click the link on the slide, like in all others, to learn more. Even better yet, get yourself in that portal and just explore. Azure Dedicated Host is a service that provides physical servers able to host one or more virtual machines dedicated to one Azure subscription. Dedicated hosts are the same physical servers used in our data centers provided as a resource. You can provision dedicated hosts within a region, availability zone, and fault domain. Then you can place VMs directly into your provisioned host in whatever configuration best meets your needs. A host group is a resource that represents a collection of dedicated hosts. You create a host group in a region and an availability zone and add hosts to it. A host is a resource mapped to a physical server in an Azure data center. The physical server is allocated when the host is created. A host is created within a host group. A host has a SKU describing which VM sizes can be created. Each host can host multiple VMs of different sizes as long as they are from the same size series. For high availability, you should deploy multiple VMs spread across multiple hosts, a minimum of 2. With Azure Dedicated Host, you have several options to provision your infrastructure to shape your fault isolation boundaries. These include fault domains and availability zones. Virtual machine scale sets let you treat a group of virtual machines as a single resource and apply availability, management, scaling, and orchestration policies as a group. Your existing dedicated host can also be used for virtual machine scale sets. Once a dedicated host is provisioned, Azure assigns it to a physical server. This guarantees the availability of the capacity when you need to provision your VM. Azure uses the entire capacity in the region or zone to pick a physical server for your host. It also means that customers can expect to be able to grow their dedicated host footprint without the concern of running out of space in the cluster. There are 2 types of quotas that are consumed when you deploy a dedicated host. 1, dedicated host vCPU quotas, and 2, VM size family quote. To request a quota increase, simply create a support request in the Azure portal. Provisioning a dedicated host will consume both dedicated host vCPU and VM family vCPU quota, but it will not consume the regional vCPU. Traffic from your VNet to the Azure service always remains on the Microsoft Azure backbone network. To apply a virtual network rule to a storage account, the user must have the appropriate permissions for the subnet being added. The permission needed is join service to a subnet, and it is included in the storage account contributor built-in role. It can also be added to custom rule definitions. Know the exceptions to network rules on the link at the bottom of the slide. For example, backup, Azure Site Recovery, dev test, monitoring, and some other things. The data in your Microsoft Azure storage account is always replicated to ensure durability and high availability. Azure Storage copies your data so that it is protected from planned and unplanned events, including transient hardware failures, network or power outages, and massive natural disasters. You can choose to replicate your data within the same data center, across zonal data centers within the same region, or across geographically separated regions. So for the exam, it is very important to know thy redundancy options. This is a list of all of them, and at the bottom of the PowerPoint is a great overview covering these. Know these differences, learn them well. This is a page worth studying. And that concludes part 1 of Implement and Monitor an Azure Infrastructure.